Today in Cannabis News, the FDA and the CDC warn the public about Delta-8 THC items derived from hemp. The National Urban League supports legalizing cannabis with reserving licenses for underprivileged populations. And Drake, Meek Mill, Al Harrington, and more public figures urge President Biden to grant sweeping cannabis pardons. It's Thursday, September 16th, and this is your Trichomes Morning Buzz.
Broadcasting live from the Trichomes.com studios in Southern California. It's time for your Morning Buzz. We bring you late-breaking news that keeps you up to date with what's happening in the cannabis industry.
First up, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention published public cautions this week regarding the dangers of the cannabinoid Delta-8 THC, a psychoactive chemical compound that has surged in prominence but is controlled in a particularly gray area. While legislators have stated that hemp is only federally lawful if it includes less than 0.3% Delta-9 THC, the most well-known and naturally present cannabinoid, there are currently no regulations in place for Delta-8 THC, which may be produced synthetically using CBD from legalized hemp. The FDA and the CDC have gotten wind of the increasing supply and demand for Delta-8 THC, which is offered in states that have not yet legalized cannabis. Individuals who use it are reporting a considerable increase in documented unfavorable health impacts, according to the authorities. The departments also say that some Delta-8 items are marked as hemp, which may deceive customers looking for non-intoxicating cannabinoids. From December 2020 to July 2021, the FDA reported it received 22 adverse reaction reports from persons who had symptoms like vomiting, hallucinations, trouble standing, and loss of consciousness.
Next up, after New York State Governor Kathy Hochul made crucial appointments to govern the state's cannabis industry, the National Urban League, which was formed more than a century ago, released its equitable cannabis legalization policy advice. The statement supports legalizing cannabis with an emphasis on social equity, and it specifies the details of what the organization wants to see emerge from reform policies. What does an equitable cannabis strategy entail? NUL made a number of suggestions, including allocating half of all cannabis industry permits to those who have been disproportionately impacted by cannabis prohibition, instantly removing previous cannabis offenses, and tactically investing cannabis tax revenue to benefit disproportionately impacted regions. The impact of marijuana enforcement has caused generational harms that must be addressed nationally and locally, and members of the community who have been harmed by disproportionate treatment should receive priority treatment from the legalized marketplace, the organization said. The policy document's premise was aptly summarized by NUL's headline, "Marijuana enforcement is more harmful than marijuana itself."
Last up, 150 celebrities, athletes, legislators, law enforcement officials, and scholars endorsed a memo to President Joe Biden this week, imploring them to grant all those with nonviolent federal cannabis charges a full, complete, and unconditional pardon. This comes as the Biden administration recently called for around 1,000 individuals who have been put on home confinement for federal drug charges to apply for clemency. The letter, which is endorsed by individuals like Drake, Killer Mike, Meek Mill, Deion Sanders, Kevin Garnett, Al Harrington, and others, claim the failed war on drugs has crushed many souls and countless futures, while spreading intolerable levels of mistrust and dysfunction between minority communities and those sworn to protect them. Relief from the federal war on marijuana would not only be just, it would also be good policy by advancing public safety and economic prosperity. A general pardon possesses a low risk to the American public by expunging records and releasing the last remaining prisoners of federal marijuana prohibition, the letter continues. Those who will have their sentences commuted comprise a small percentage of the federal prison population and are incarcerated only for nonviolent marijuana offenses. All other beneficiaries of a categorical pardon represent an even lower risk, since those people are already living peacefully among their neighbors.
That was today's Buzz. Thanks for listening. For more cannabis news and insights from industry professionals and a place to discuss these stories and others, visit trichomes.com.
And be sure to catch up with all of our other cannabis industry related podcasts like Hash It Out, Tech and Cannabis, or the International Cannabis Conversation wherever you get your podcasts. For Trichomes.com, I'm Devin Leal.
And I'm RJ Balde, signing off.